It's not Jurassic Park, but you will be transported back to the past. In the Tri-Cities, there's an active archaeological dig site of a mammoth, and you and your family can see it up close. The McBones Site offers tours to teach people about the history of our state and its wildlife. To learn more about this, we're joined by the McBones Education Director, Gary Klein-Connect. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is a fascinating story. What did the mammoth look like when it was alive, and how were these bones first discovered?
Well, to make a long story short, somebody was digging into a hillside, and that's the way they're just about always found, just by accident. And they were told they found some mammoth bones. So they dug a little more by hand and found an upside down jaw about that wide, and took a picture of it. And later on, that picture got circulated until it wound up in the hands of a real paleontologist who worked before his retirement at the Burke Museum there in Seattle. And he sent a graduate student over to see if this was for real. I wound up stumbling into this situation, and I've been there since day one.
Wow, what are the chances? This is just so fascinating. I mean, many of these bones look pretty good. How were they so preserved so well over such a long period of time? 17,000 years.
Well, part of the big story here is a whole nother thing about our past, and that's the Ice Age, or sometimes called the Missoula floods. The sediment settles out of floods when the water isn't flowing real fast, like when a flood backs up to its maximum. Our mammoth is buried in floods sediments, layer after layer after layer, and apparently some parts of the animal were really well buried.
Okay, give us a peek into how big this mammoth was.
Ours was just an average fella, and we have a way of determining he actually was a male. Our guy stood maybe a little over 10 feet tall.
Wow.
But the species, this is a Columbian mammoth. It's not a woolly mammoth. They're close cousins. In fact, there's evidence that they may have interbred, which means they're really not separate species. But the Columbian mammoth's a little bigger than woolies, a little bigger than African elephants, and some of them stood as tall as 13 feet.
Wow. And just one for now? Do you think there could be another one discovered in this area?
Yeah, we're pretty sure we only have one, but you know, there have been probably more than 50 finds in Benton County alone.
Wow.
Ours is just one of them. So there's a lot more out there.
There's a lot more out there. Can you walk us through this tour? What will people see?
Well, first thing is you come into what we call our dig house. It was a building that pre-existed our arrival, and it houses a little theater area. We have chairs for about 30 some people, and they'll watch a little slideshow, and I'll narrate it, in which they'll learn about what mammoths are, what Columbian mammoths are, and how they compare with other creatures. They'll learn about what it is we do, actually, kind of a once-over. And then they'll get a chance to take a look at our display area, where we have some donated display cases with bones behind glass. They're the ones that are in the best condition. And then we show them our bone lab, where we clean them and preserve them. And that's about the first half of the tour. Then we take the tour down into Coyote Canyon. That's maybe 150 yards away from our building. And we show them the actual dig site where bones were found. If they're lucky enough to be arriving on a work day for us, they can see people out there getting dirty and sweaty, and as you get outdoors out here. And then this is something that just intrigues me. There's another study we're doing, and they get to actually see or even participate in gathering data on other forms of life that are buried in that hillside.
Oh, this all sounds so cool.
The mammoth got us there, but there's a whole lot of dirt in that hillside, and we just decided that let's use it. So we excavate layer by layer. These are man-made layers, 10 centimeters, but we document each layer. It gets a number in each square unit, and every bucket of dirt that comes out of that layer gets washed over very fine screen, like 1 millimeter mesh screen.
Wow. Okay.
And what you get left in the screen after the water has washed away all the fine dirt is sand and the remains of little tiny forms of life.
Ooh.
Now remember, we're keeping track of where it came from.
Okay.
You know how deeply it was buried. And the depth is important because the deeper you find something, the older it is. The younger stuff's on top, and the bottom of our dig right now is the actual mammoth bones. And I don't know if you were going to ask me later.
No, so much more to discover. We don't want you to give it all away, Gary. This is just a little preview. This is fascinating. But I do want to briefly ask you, and briefly, really quick, you just told us you guys sold out, and you also need some donations. Briefly tell us what's going on. This is so popular. Are you guys going to open up more spots so people can come see, and how can people help?
Well, we have a lot of lab work to do that we can't do ourselves. And you have to hire out labs. Your rent labs, whatever. You send stuff to them and pay them their fee for doing the work. And we have a lot of we have thousands of little bits of former life, little bones, little seeds, and we need to have those identified. We can do some of them, but there are people, the experts, who have to spend a good bit of time yet before we can publish. So that's where we're going. This is a scientific project.
Okay. Gary, thank you for your time. Good luck.
Oh, you're welcome.